The empty nest syndrome is a common and complex experience for parents, but it doesn't have to be a sad time for couples, and those difficult feelings don't always start when your child leaves for college. Psychologist Dr. Shannon J, once again joining us in studio. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jamie.
You know, this is a topic of discussion. Last night I finished watching Never Have I Ever, where she goes off to college, which is such a great show, but she goes off to college and mom's left in the empty nest. And this is such a common thing. Even our executive producer this morning said, my wife and I are going to deal with this. How do couples get through this?
Oh, I'm so happy I get to talk about this today because a lot of people are going through it, a lot of my clients too. And the first thing everybody says they notice is the quiet in the house. Yeah, you know, empty nest syndrome, there is a syndrome here. It's not a clinical disorder, but it's something that is a pattern.
It's real.
It's real. It's a pattern of behaviors, reactions, feelings. It's usually an underlying sense of loss and grief. So if we can prepare ourselves for it, we can really help ourselves through. It affects couples differently. It affects partners differently. It's more likely to affect women and especially single parents.
See, I think my mom was like, hey, great, kids, get out of here. I can finally live my life.
And that may be true. There is one thing I left out. It actually happens more frequently when a kid goes to junior high than to college.
Really?
So that's something parents to prepare yourselves for is if you have kids that are going to junior high, that may creep up on you. So
that's
we
really interesting. Okay, so how do couples get through this and talk about the syndrome?
Okay, so couples sometimes find there are a couple different things that can happen. One, couples may realize that they have completely put their relationship on the back burner and that they're almost like strangers again when kids leave the house, and it can feel really awkward. On another note, sometimes there are issues that have been present in the relationship that all the demands of parenting allowed them to ignore. So on the worst case, now you're dealing with somebody where you have some pretty significant issues and the relationship may not be compatible. I really recommend seeking couples counseling if that's the case so that you can find out whether or not you want to stay together. If you're just feeling like you and your partner have stopped getting to know one another, though, there are a lot of things we can do to reconnect.
Oh, name some.
Okay, so first of all, I want you to normalize the fact that it will feel awkward at first. This does not mean disaster necessarily. Parenting takes a lot. And if you look at the research in marital satisfaction, it goes really down the first year of having a baby, and then it never really gets back to high until the kids are 18. And once they're out of the house, it's actually an amazing time to rekindle the relationship. Start by asking each other questions about what you're going through with the empty nest. One parent may be feeling a total loss of identity, who they are after parenting for so long. The other may be fine. Be open to exploring what it's like for your partner. It's a great way to just sort of reconnect with who they are and build the friendship.
Well, it's interesting because, you know, getting curious is a way to connect with somebody,
We're starting with just open-ended questions.
And that's easy. It can be.
Yes.
As long as you sit down and actually practice it.
Yes.
How can parents manage this transition, not only for themselves, but also for the kids? Because I have to imagine there's also, you know, this sense of loss for the kids. There's excitement. They're going off to live their life, but at the same time, it's different.
Yes. So I think what can be really helpful here is to see it as a normal developmental phase, just like when kids start getting interested in dating. That's all normal development so that they do have the motivation to eventually move off and be on their own. It means you raised them right. You want them to be capable and excited and curious about the world beyond the home. That is all healthy. And so you can remind yourself that you've done a good job, that this is natural. You're still going to have a relationship with your child. It's just a different one. You can also start by sitting down with your kid and helping them prepare for the transition and deciding how much they want to communicate in advance and starting that ahead of time. Parents who have the hardest time with this transition tend to be ones who actually feel guilt because they didn't do enough stuff with their kids beforehand. So make sure you're spending quality time with your kid and also be open to their cues of how much time works for them.
And it doesn't have to be big things. I really find it's playing a board game, it's eating dinner together, it's just the small little moments.
Even sending a text while they're still with you at night, right? A check-in good night text.
Oh, that's great. Great advice.
Thanks.
Dr. Curry, thank you so much for being here. For more information on this segment, just head over to kcalnews.com, click Seen on TV.